Welcome everybody to the second GYLS Momentum session of the year of 2017. Congratulations if you made it on here. I commend you for your commitment to just keeping your momentum going. We've got an incredible speaker who was supposed to be on the call, I think back in November. And so we made special arrangements to have him run his own session because he's so amazing. This guy is one of the most incredible people that I know. He is just an example of literally being legendary, so much that it's his hashtag. He is literally legendary, and by the end of this call you'll know why. His story is so inspiring, so incredible. Anyone can learn from it, and we're really just blessed, and we have such an honor of having him on this call. Before that, just to get into some quick housekeeping, you guys already know by now, for any questions or comments, post it as a comment in the link that you got to this video at. He's going to do a talk, and then we'll save the questions for the end. Without further ado, here's the legend himself, George.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you. Hi guys, hi everyone. Well, from my side, looking outside, it's already dark, so good evening. For some of you, it's good afternoon, and maybe for some of you, it's good morning. First of all, let me thank you and acknowledging you for being here, for making the time to be here to listen to me so that we can learn together. It's a privilege, and one of the things that, I'm just making a little bit of a joke here, that I love doing this thing is just to hear normally the intro and to hear all those good things and amazing things about me. So that really is one of the highlights already. Now a little bit about me before I start, guys. I live in Portugal. As you can see, I have this strange accent, which is a mix of Portuguese, UK English, American English, and whatever English. I've been living here for 44 years. I'm 44 now, and I have the privilege of being traveling around the world literally since I was 12. And recently, traveling with the Tony Robbins environment. I'm one of Tony's coaches, and I'm one of Tony's trainers as well. And the reason that we are here today is to talk about pain. And pain is, I would say, as important in life as love. Love, I believe that it's the #1 thing in life. It's the thing that we all need to live. It's the thing that we all need to embrace, shine, give, receive, and be an example of. And sometimes to be a pure example of love, you have to endure through pain. And pain is also a way of getting love. Some of you might have heard already talking about the victim state. The victim state is a good way, and I will start with that. It's a good way of us receiving love. And I was a baby. You guys, you were babies already. And one of the first things that we did as a baby is we cried. And we cried because we had a pain connected to being with our diapers dirty, for example. A pain because we were too warm or too cold, or we were wanting to have some milk, or whatever type of pain. And we cried. And instantly, when a baby cries, what does a baby get when he cries? He gets affection, he gets attention, he gets everything, and ultimately he gets huge amounts of love. Actually, love is so important in our lives that if we are born and if we don't receive human touch, if we don't receive human connection, if we are fed, if we are taken care, but we don't get connection, we don't get touch, we don't get love, we die. So that's the importance of love in our life. So in that moment, through pain, we got a strategy. We created a strategy in our minds, in our brains, that it's pain equals love. So if I need to receive love, I go through pain. So that's why some of us, every now and then, and we are all human, and it's pretty much normal to go into that state, into the victim state, you know, to feel sorry, to feel pain, to feel that this is happening to me and I'm the only one, you know, it's always the same thing. So we use pain as a vehicle to get connection, to get affection, to get love. And I have to admit, for a long time in my life, I was a victim. I played that role quite well, and I will share with you a little bit of my story. Normally, I used to say that I have a PhD in pain because I went through several stages and several types of pain during my life. I was born in a family that I know that loved me dearly, loved me as they could, but it was a disruptive family. You know, I had two parents that I do love, that I know that they loved me and that they do love me today, but the relationship that they had was a disruptive relationship. I grew up seeing, you know, my father physically abusing my mother physically abusing my father. My mom, my dad, verbally, psychologically abusing each other. So I grew up in an environment that was not the best. Also, as my mom had this not so good relationship, she craved for love. So the way of her getting love in her life was through me. So she was absolutely obsessed about me. And she was so obsessed about me that either I would be and do the things as she wanted, or she would really come to me very hard physically, very hard verbally, and very hard psychologically. So part of me became a warrior, but part of me also developed this victim state because of all the pain that I went through. Apart from that, I also grew up in a neighborhood with some issues. I had people going through drugs around me, drug dealers, you know, just across the other street. When I was 19, I lost one of my best friends to suicide because of drugs, because he became a drug addict and he couldn't stand it anymore, and he decided to end his life. Even going a little bit back before that, I was sexually abused by an older woman when I was 7. So I know a lot about pain. I went through different types of pain. Also, a couple of disruptive relationships until the amazing relationship that I live today. And the reason that I went through all this disruptive relationship was that we love as we learned. And the examples of love that I had were my parents, and they were not the best examples. So part of me was looking or was running the same patterns that I saw in my father and that I saw in my mom. So that was the reason that I had 20 years of not those great relationships, until actually I found the woman of my life, the woman of my dreams, that, well, I dated her when I was 19, 25 years ago, and I found her again 21 years later. So it's a coincidence or not. But going to the main pain that I went through, some of you know me from the environment, and some of you know already my story. But for those who don't, I will share with you my story, or my ultimate story of pain. So I had this last relationship before the one that I have right now. I was married for 10 years. And during my relationship, I became a father in 2009, a father of a beautiful princess. The picture that you saw on the Momentum event, that's my daughter, you know, this beautiful princess called Leonor. And Leonor, when we picked her name, we didn't know the meaning of Leonor. And Leonor comes from the Arabic. And in Arabic, Leonor means God is my light. And actually, Leonor was a source of light, a source of love, a source of enlightenment, a source of growth in my life. So Leonor was born in 2009. in a year that I was striving to launch my business as a business coach, as a speaker, nationally and internationally. I became a Tony Robbins coach in 2010. And business at the beginning was hard, and that also brought a couple of issues to my relationship, because I was traveling a lot. I was not that much time at home, and that also brought a couple of issues to my relationship. So, but again, this warrior side of me that I developed back then made me go forward and pursue my dream and thrive on my business, and I successfully made it. I created a successful company here in Portugal that we run projects in Brazil, Mexico, Spain, UK, and all that. A company kept growing as my daughter kept growing, and in 2013 I was coaching for Tony for 3 years. I was at that time not a trainer yet, but I was on the path to become a trainer. My company was growing. We just got into a project of 400 people in a multinational company here, you know, coaching from the CEO up to the very bottom, trainings and all that. Money was coming in, things was going great. My relationship was not that great. We were still having issues, but everything was great apart from that. And suddenly, one day, and without expecting, my daughter was 100%, 101% healthy. A child full of energy, full of strength, full of love, full of happiness. She was pure light. And one day I was coaching from home, and I hear her crying. And making a long story short, that crying was a tummy ache. We decided to take her to the hospital, and like that, she was diagnosed with stage 5 kidney cancer. 8 inches tumor on her right kidney, 4 inches on her left, and 30 plus metastases, and a sentence of 2 to 4 weeks to live if the chemo wouldn't work. The chemo did work. The chemo did work for 15 months. And unfortunately, in September 2014, my daughter ascended to another level. She became an angel. So now I am the blessed father of a pink angel. Pink because pink was her favorite color. So I have an angel up there living and looking at me and still inspiring me every day to be better, to look for the better version of me, and to share this legacy that she left me with. And that's why Sergio talked about this hashtag of being legendary, because being legendary was the way that I saw her living a life. There are many stories about her journey through cancer. I will share with you now a couple of them that I believe that are important also for you to learn a little bit from her journey. And one of those was, again, she went through cancer. Of course, she was 4.5. She turned 5 during the treatments. And the 5-year-old doesn't have the full conscience of what she was going through. She was not aware that she could die. She was not aware that she could lose her life. Of course, she was only 5. She didn't have this clear distinction of what is life, what is death. But she had a clear distinction of what life was before cancer and what life turned to be after cancer, because it was daily treatments, going to the hospital, staying there for a couple of days, not being able to go to school anymore, not being able to play with her friends that she loved, not being able to go to the beach, to play at the sun, to play with the sand that she loved so much. So she knew that these things. But even so, even being at the hospital and going through chemo, her main goal was to be happy. I have a picture of her doing a first chemo, and she's smiling. I remember once she was going through an aggressive chemo treatment, and as you might know, some of the secondary effects is to throw up. And she was going through chemo. I was there. I had my iPad. We were watching these princess movies that she loved, and she started to have, you know, this thing coming out and vomits and all that. And she threw up. We had this metal thing where she would throw up into it. And so we were watching the movie. She was all engaged and laughing and having fun. She threw up. Immediately, I cleaned her mouth, and she came back laughing again. She didn't stay at the pain of throwing up. She didn't stay at what she was feeling, at the discomfort of the secondary effects. Why? Because she was always choosing to be happy. She was always choosing to be happy. One day, and just before a couple of weeks before she was diagnosed terminal, we were coming from the hospital, and she had her immune system a little bit low. So what the doctor at the hospital said, okay, we have two choices. Either she will stay here, or you have to assure me that she goes home and she doesn't get any visits, she doesn't go out of home, and she only stays with you guys there, okay? So, and we said, of course, yeah, we will do that. So when we were driving home, and she wanted to go, it was a summer day, a sunny summer day, and she wanted to go to the beach. And she said, you know, Daddy, can I go to the beach? And I looked back and I said, you know, honey, I'm sorry. You heard what the doctor said, and we cannot go because, you know, if we go to the beach, there is this bugs there, and, you know, right now you are weak, and then you have to go back to the hospital. And she was upset. She was like, oh, but why can't I go? I want to go. I love the sun. I love going to the beach in summer. I want to go play. Honey, I'm sorry, we can't. And then I was looking in the rearview mirror, and I could see her face, that she was frustrated, but at the same time she was thinking. And then she came up with, Daddy, can we go to the pool? And I said, honey, you know what? It's the same thing. There are these bugs in the water. There are these things going on. And again, if you get this bug, you are weak now, and then you have to go to the hospital. And she was, damn, you know. And I could see the frustration, but she was coming out faster from the frustration. And again, she kept thinking, and she comes to me and say, Daddy, can we go to the park? Can we go play at the park? And I said, honey, same thing. I'm sorry, there are bugs there. If you fall, if you get wounded, the bug will get in. We have problems, okay? So no. This time, she was no longer frustrated. She came right to thinking mode. And I could see her thinking, and then, can we go to the cinema? I said, honey, cinema is full of people breathing, bugs in the air. You will breathe the bugs will go into the system. You are weak. No, I'm sorry, honey. And this time was like a fraction of a second. And she said, Daddy, I know one thing. We are going home, right? I said, yes. Can we go into our room and watch princess movies? And I said, yes, we can. And she kind of almost jumped in the back seat like, yay, I'm going to watch princess movies. What did I take out of this story? I took that she just wanted to be happy. It was not about the beach. It was not about the pool. It was not about the park. It was not about the cinema. It was getting something to be happy that she could enjoy, she could spend time with. So she didn't hang to the pain of, oh, I can't go to the beach. She didn't went into suffering. Because the things that make us suffer is loss. For example, I lost my daughter. And you guys, maybe you lost a relationship. You lost a girlfriend or a boyfriend. You lost a friend because you guys have had a fight and you are no more talking, and it was a very dear friend. Everything is a loss. There are losses that involves more pain, but this type of loss, they create pain. And we might use this to go into suffering, because suffering is a choice, and ultimately it's a stack of pain with the illusion of receiving or creating love in our lives. I never suffered with my daughter. When I was watching her going through chemo, when I was with her at the last breath, I didn't suffer. I had lots of pain. It still hurts today. Even now talking with you, I feel the pain here of not having her physically with me, but she lives in me. She lives spiritually in me. And she's the reason because I'm here. She's the reason because I do my very best to be better every single day. She's the reason that every single day I decide to be happy. So I use the pain to be happy, to be better, to be more love. And I have to admit, guys, there are days that it works, and there are days that it doesn't work. And the days that it doesn't work, I learn. You know, I learn how to utilize pain better the next day. Also, one of the things that cause pain in our lives is less. Today, we live in a society that has this thing of having more, doing more, being more, having more stuff, having more friends at Facebook, having more likes at Facebook, having more WhatsApp messages, having more connections. And when we feel that we are having less, or when we feel less, we create pain, we create suffering. Also, the illusion of never. I do believe that I will be reunited with my daughter one day. And I do believe that this is my belief system, okay? I believe that we all are souls. And I believe that my soul is using this body right now. But my soul has lived many lives before. And most probably that the life that I lived, the 5.5 years that I lived with my daughter were not only these 5.5 years. Maybe we had already crossed our lives before. And I believe that we will have more time in eternity together. So by developing this belief system, I create systems within me not to go through pain and not to go through suffering. And I would like to share with you some of the things that I do daily and some of the strategies that I use daily not to suffer, meaning going through pain and utilizing it. And one of the things is awareness. We need to be aware of what is causing pain. We need to be aware of what is really causing us pain. Because sometimes we create reasons to feel pain. By developing this awareness, and you guys most probably have heard about the human needs, problems, challenges, suffering is a great way of fulfilling human needs, especially the human needs of personality, meaning certainty, uncertainty, connection, and significance. If we have a problem, if we have a challenge, if we have pain, if we are suffering, we feel certain. It brings uncertainty into your life because it causes stress. It will create mess in your life. Uncertainty is there. It brings you connection with yourself, and you try to get connection and love from others. And it makes you feel significant because you have a problem. Man, if I can feel significant because I lost my daughter, do you want more significance than this, you know? It's the ultimate pain that a father can go through. So you need to be aware what you are utilizing pain for. And if you decide to use pain to grow, you will then fulfill the other two needs, the needs for growth and the needs for contribution, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm sharing with you what is my belief system about pain. How do I use pain? So I'm contributing. Then you need to accept. The very first thing that we all need to do to deal with pain is we need to accept. You know, it's from Carl Jung. Whatever we resist will persist. If we don't accept whatever is happening, if I wouldn't have accepted that my daughter had a cancer, if I started blaming God, if I started blaming life, the doctors, the hospital, whatever, for what my daughter was going through, I would never had shown up as the father that I did, and I would never had the learnings that I did from her. So acceptance, you need to accept whatever is going on in your life. Accept it, embrace it. Know that it's, like Tony says, it's happening for you. No matter how painful it is, it's happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you to become better, for you to discover a part of you, for you to transform yourself in something that you are not, but you can be and you will be. Then be grateful. Be grateful for what you have in your life. Be grateful for what you are going through. Be grateful for the challenge. Be grateful for the pain. Be grateful for the learnings that will come. Develop gratitude for whatever you are living, whatever you are experiencing, whatever is hurting, is causing you pain. develop the gratitude, because it's there for a higher purpose. It's not there because it's not about you. It's not there to punish, to judge you, or to harm you. It's there for you. So develop this gratitude. And then forgive. Forgive who caused you pain. Forgive yourself, maybe, if you were the one, or if you are the one that is causing you pain. Forgive yourself for your choices. Forgive yourself for what you are not yet able to do. Forgive others that might have caused you this pain. Decide to let go of the hunger, of the anger that is holding you to this pain. Maybe you are holding to a pain because someone hurted you, you know, and you feel this anger towards that person. Decide to let go. Decide to forgive. Appreciate and enjoy your life. Your life is unique. Appreciate it. You have gifts, you have talents, you have abilities, you have a personality that is unique in the world. There is no one else like you. Appreciate and enjoy your gifts. Decide to learn, to grow. Every single day, you know. Yesterday I had an event in my life that caused me pain. I lost, for those of you who know what is the beautiful state that Tony talks, and living in this beautiful state, which is no more than identifying pain, dealing with pain, but denying suffering, not allowing yourself to suffer. That's what Tony calls the beautiful state. It doesn't mean that you don't go through pain in your life, but it means that you decide not to suffer. And I do live most of my days in a beautiful state, most of my weeks in a beautiful state, most of my months in a beautiful state. And yesterday I had an event that really took me out of the beautiful state, that really caused me, you know, to feel anger, to feel upset, to feel that I was going to something really unfair. And I only allowed myself to be in that state for 15 minutes. Because immediately I just used those 4 steps, you know, awareness, what is going on? What am I doing with this? What is the story? What are the needs that I am feeling? I accept it, you know, this is happening for me. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me. I decided to be grateful. Okay, how can I use this? How can I be grateful for this? And I decided to forgive the person that caused that event. So learn and grow from this event. And live from a place of love. Live from a place of giving. We all are in here for 2 reasons. I believe I am not a religious guy, I'm a spiritual guy. And I believe in a God, and my God doesn't have a name. It can be Jesus, it can be Allah, Jehovah, Buddha. It can have your name, it can have my name, it can have Sergio's name, Nate's name. It's a God. But the God that I believe in, it didn't put me in this world to suffer. It didn't put me in this world so that he could punish me. God doesn't punish. God doesn't judge. God doesn't blame. And my God, I believe, that placed me here for 2 main things. One, to be happy. And the second one, to give love. To be love, to give love, and to receive love. To be an example of love. Again, most of the days, I succeed. And there are some days that I don't. Because I'm human. I have emotions. I have feelings. It's okay. I'm not a machine. Even machines fail. So it's okay to fail. But when I fail, it doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It means that I failed and I can learn from it. So decide to utilize pain and decide not to be utilized by pain. Pain is an amazing asset, like love is, like forgiveness is, like gratitude. You just need to embrace it and utilize it for your growth, for you to become your better version. You need to look at pain as an ally, not an enemy. And when you do that, when you decide to utilize pain, when you decide to be happy in your life, when you decide to be loved, that's my version of being legendary. That's when you become legendary. So my wishes to all of you, and now I will kind of open to questions and answers, is for you to live a legendary life. And before going there, I just want to share a quote that I got from my daughter. You know, that day that she wanted to go to the beach and that she couldn't, she came up with something that she wanted to share with her friends on Facebook, which was, in the day of tomorrow, I want you to be happy, even if there is no sun and you can't go to the beach. So it was a simple metaphor of a little legendary princess of 5 years old that just wanted to be happy and to be loved. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Love you.
Thank you, George. That was so inspiring. And I've heard that story a couple times, and every single time it just gets you. For those of you watching, and we do have a couple of viewers, if you have questions for George, if you just want to drop him a comment in the grads group or in the event, either way, under the link to watch this on YouTube, feel free to comment. We got Patrick with a big smiley face, and we've got Zach. Choose to be happy. I love this momentum session. It's so powerful. Thank you, Zach, for coming.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I think we might have another question. Thank you so much. From Kimberly. Let me go back to this group really quick. And in the meantime, while people are thinking of questions, I'm going to start with one. Why did you, so you were a team leader this past year at GYLS. What made you want to go to GYLS? What made you decide to fly all the way from Portugal and spend a week volunteering 18 to 20-hour days, 6 days in a row? What made you want to do that?
Well, because the first thing is because it's my mission to serve, to give. But the very one thing is I was already a teenager, and I know what I had to go through for a couple of decades to get rid of the luggage that I got from my early years. So I wanted really to go there to help and to serve and to inspire these amazing teenagers that we have every year at GYLS, and to be a part of that environment and just to reassure to them that everything is okay. You know, that sometimes life can be unfair, sometimes life can gift you with challenges that are beyond your imagination, but you are worth it, you are loved, you are happy, you are legendary. And if I can be a part of that, just, you know, a tiny little grain of sand at GYLS, that will make me feel grateful. So that's why I went there, and I will be going there this year again, and next year, and next year, and next year to serve. And because I love children, because we all have this children within us. So we all, even when we are teenagers, we have this little child. And that little child needs to be loved, needs to know that he's happy, that she's happy.
Yeah, that's an amazing answer. Every time I ask a team leader or even a coach or anyone why they go back to GYLS, it always just comes back to something like that. We just want to serve. It's just the most amazing place.
Absolutely. It's my favorite Tony event of ever. Tony ever.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Me too. So I've got another question for people watching. If you have one, now's your chance. And if not, this will be one of my last questions probably. Related specifically to, hold on, we just got another question, but I'll read that after. Specifically related to the actual session and in terms of pain, and specifically having pain but not suffering, how do you manage your state when there's pain and you know that you should interrupt your pattern and change your state and not suffer and be in a beautiful state, but you're angry or you're upset and you just don't want to? You know you should, you know how to, you have the tools, and you just don't feel like it. How do you get yourself to be grateful when you know there are things you could be grateful for, but you don't want to?
Yeah. Well, I think it's going back to those 4 steps, you know: awareness, accept, be grateful, and forgiveness. So you cannot be grateful, you cannot forgive yourself or others if you are not aware, you know. And sometimes you need to allow yourself that space to feel. You need to feel a pain. You need to maybe go a little bit into suffering. I was suffering yesterday for 15 minutes. I tell you, I was suffering because it was really something that really took me out of state. It was really something that touched with my values, with my core, with who I am, with who I represent. And I allowed myself. I said, you know what? I have the tool. I'm a Tony Robbins coach. I'm a Tony Robbins trainer. I am a coach in my life, but I am human. So I have the right also to feel. So I accepted that moment. I embraced, and I decided, you know what? Maximum 15 minutes. I don't stay like this more than 15 minutes. So I made a decision to accept and to time frame it. Like, okay, you want to suffer? You want to play the victim state? Great. But you do it for 15 minutes. So I had that conversation with me, like the higher self talking with, or my conscious talking with me. So, and then I accepted. And then I went back then to the awareness. Okay, what is causing me? Why am I feeling like this? I started to analyze my thoughts, my questions, what I was asking, you know, who I was blaming. And then I did, you know, the effective blaming. Okay, so I'm blaming this person for what I'm feeling right now. How can I utilize this feeling and become strong? Because if I'm blaming her for something that is hurting, I can also blame her for what I will develop. So yeah, I will be even more grateful. I will be even able to forgive even more. So it's turn it around. What else can this mean? What is the truth? There is a powerful question that I always use to get back into the beautiful state is, what is the truth about this? You know, because sometimes we go into stories, oh, this is causing me this, causing me that, someone did that. But if we really go, come on, go to the truth. What is really the truth? And that was actually the question. And now that you asked me that question and made me go back, that was the question that made the tipping point. You know, I did all that. What am I thinking? The blaming. But then I said, okay, what is the truth in all this? The truth is this. Okay, so go back to the beautiful state.
That's an incredible answer. That makes so much sense, because sometimes when you're upset or you're frustrated or you're mad and you know all these tools, effective blaming and pattern interrupting and disassociation, all that random stuff, it's just as simple as what's actually really true right now. Like, what is the truth, right? That was a really good answer. We've got a comment from Jeffrey, coach from GYLS. He said, tell George I love and appreciate him, and by connecting more and feeling his story more, I've become more open to accept pain and have learned suffering is optional. So that's awesome.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
We have a bunch of viewers, but I think they're just so mesmerized by your story that they may not have questions. So I think we're good. If any of you do have questions and you prefer to be anonymous, you can message me or message George anytime. We'll get the question to him, and then he can answer it individually if you prefer. And otherwise, we'll give people another minute, but if not, you can just wrap us up.
Good. So guys, just know I'm always here. Whatever pain you went through, whatever pain you are going through, I've been there. I know how it feels. Trust me, I've been there. So you have my Facebook. Sometimes I can accept friends, sometimes I cannot, because I've reached that limit that unfortunately I cannot take any more friends, only when someone unfriends me or I have a friend there. But nevertheless, I always take message. So please feel free to reach out. And I haven't opened my page is public, so you can post things there. You can watch it. You can follow me, and you can just pop in and have a conversation if you want. Again, like Sergio said, if you want to have a more private conversation or a more private question that you just want to ask me, please go ahead and use Facebook Messenger for that. And I hope to see you at an event, UPW or GYLS, or, well, somewhere around this world. And until then, be happy, love a ton, and forgive even more. And be legendary, guys. Love you. Thank you.
So we actually just got 2 more questions.
Awesome.
Wow.
Bring them on.
So maybe we can tie them together. The first one from Patrick is, what are you thinking about right now? And then just to give you the second one, it's anonymous. How do you help someone in your life who's feeling pain? So what we've talked about today is how you help yourself, how you yourself choose to not suffer when you go through pain. How do you help someone who's going through pain? So what are you thinking about right now?
About the question with Patrick, if I heard it correctly, is what's going on in my head right now? What am I thinking about? Right? Was that?
Yeah.
Well, actually, right now, nothing, because I'm fully present here. So I'm not in my head. I'm in my heart. So nothing is going through my head right now. About helping someone. One of the things that I learned being a coach is you cannot help anyone if they don't want to be helped. Unfortunately, there are people that in some point they get so attached to pain, because pain also, remember that our brain, and some of you might have heard Tony talk about this, our brain was made to assure our survival. We have a brain that was developed, that was trained, that was created to take us to this survival mode. Because again, going back into the caves, we had a lot of dangers. So we had a brain that was always looking for dangers. So there are people that they become attached to pain because of this survival thing. It's like, if I can hold on to this pain, I will survive. And then again, it's also that illusion of love. The more pain, the more suffering, the more I attract. I could, when I lost my daughter, I could go into suffering, just in order to feel a connection with her. I feel her so much. I miss her so much. So I'm suffering. But I decided to be happy and to, because I know that wherever she is, she wants to see me smiling. She wants me to be loved. So the first thing, that person that you might be asking for, how can I help her? First, she needs to want to be helped. And then I believe that the best way to help someone is to be an example. You cannot help anyone to deal with pain if you are not an example. And I would say use with her or share with her these 4 steps, the awareness. What is causing her to feel like that? How can she feel instead, or he feel instead? The awareness, what is causing? Accept whatever is happening, whatever she lost, whatever type of pain she's going through. She needs to accept whatever caused it. The other day I was talking with a mom that lost his kid in a car accident, a 21-year-old son. It was her only son. And she didn't accept, life isn't fair. Why this is happening with me? She was still fighting. She was still in denial, complaining, blaming. If you don't accept, you cannot go to the next level. And then it starts to develop the gratitude, it starts to appreciate, to enjoy the little things of life. And forgiveness. But again, if this person doesn't want to be helped, we cannot help her.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. That was a really good point. I'm not sure that we have any more questions, so now we'll do the official final wrap up. And just for my last thing before you wrap it up, the next momentum session will be, I think, the second weekend of February with Carolyn. We'll be talking about relationships. So stay tuned for that event and book it in your calendar. I'll give it to you and you can wrap us up officially.
Okay. Once again, guys, thank you so much. I would just like to reinforce that I will be here. Look for me on Facebook, message me, let me know how can I help you. Use me as a resource. And again, decide to use pain. Refuse to be used by pain and to go into suffering. Use pain to become the better version of you. You know, be happy, love more, and forgive even more. Be legendary. And remember, in the day of tomorrow, you can be happy, even if there is no sun and you can't go to the beach. Be legendary, guys. Love you. Thank you.